You stand before the castle gate, clutching your heavy stipend ledger while the code dictates your every breath. The clan seal on this paper determines if your family eats white rice or starvation gruel tonight. You believe your swords make you a warrior, but the edicts have turned you into a prisoner. The merchant waits outside your home, holding a tab that has grown larger than your annual income. You cannot run, because the code binds your status to this specific plot of land and duty. Your wife patches your ceremonial robes, hiding the fraying threads that would signal your disgrace to the clan. The Metsuke patrols the district, looking for any sign of wealth that violates the strict sumptuary laws. You present your ledger to the clerk, hoping the exchange rate for rice has not crashed again today. The clan seal stamps down with a heavy thud, sealing your fate for another quarter of poverty. You walk home past the tea house, where lower merchants feast while you maintain your starving dignity. The edicts forbid you from working a trade, forcing you to rely solely on the shrinking stipend. Your son watches you polish your blade, believing the myth of power that you can no longer afford. You sit in the cold darkness, saving oil for the lantern because the code demands appearance over comfort. The rival passes you in the street, wearing new silk that suggests he has found a loophole. You wonder if the honor of your ancestors is worth the hunger gnawing at your empty stomach. The Lord announces a mandatory inspection, sending a wave of panic through your impoverished Nagaya housing row. You must borrow money from the merchant just to rent a presentable suit of armor for the day. The merchant smiles with cold eyes, adding high interest to the debt that the code forces upon you. You stand in formation for hours, sweating under the rented iron while the Metsuke inspects every detail. The Metsuke observes your torn sandals, noting this violation of the sumptuary laws in his black book. You hold your breath as he passes, knowing a single mark could reduce your stipend even further. The inspection ends without incident, but the rental fee has consumed your food budget for the month. Your wife silently serves you hot water instead of tea, preserving the illusion of a meal for the neighbors. You seek advice from the scribe, who knows the intricate bureaucracy of the edicts better than anyone else. The scribe whispers that the rival has been selling clan secrets to merchants to fund his lifestyle. You refuse to believe a samurai would stoop so low, clinging to the honor the code demands. The merchant returns the next day, demanding partial payment or he will report your debts to the Lord. If the Lord discovers your insolvency, the edicts mandate that you lose your status and your home. You beg the armorer to buy your spare dagger, sacrificing a piece of your soul for coin. The armorer shakes his head, showing you a pile of blades sold by other desperate samurai families. You realize you are not alone in this trap, but the code forbids you from discussing it. The rival mocks your worn scabbard at the morning assembly, drawing laughter from the younger retainers. You grip your hilt in anger, but drawing a blade in the castle is punishable by immediate death. The Metsuke watches the exchange, his eyes lingering on your trembling hand rather than the insult. You return to your post, where the real battle is fighting the boredom of endless administrative paperwork. The scribe hands you a stack of ledgers, hinting that you might find an error to exploit. You scan the numbers late into the night, looking for the missing rice that could save you. You discover a discrepancy in the warehouse logs that points directly to the embezzlement by the rival. You prepare a report to expose him, believing that the code will reward your loyalty and truth. The rival intercepts you before you reach the magistrate, smiling as he reveals he knows your debts. He threatens to expose your dealings with the merchant if you submit the report to the Metsuke. You hesitate, paralyzed by the fear of losing the small stipend that keeps your son alive. The clan seal on his blackmail letter proves he has powerful friends within the administration office. You burn your report in the hearth, watching justice turn to ash to protect your family's survival. The rival receives a promotion the next week, proving that corruption pays better than honor under the edicts. Your wife falls ill, requiring medicine that costs more than your remaining credit with the merchant. You break the code by taking a secret job at night, crafting umbrellas for a local shop. You hide your face under a straw hat, terrified that the Metsuke might recognize his loyal servant. The Ronin spots you working in the alley, nodding with a silent understanding of your fallen state. The Ronin offers you a drink, but you refuse, fearing that any slip will destroy you. The extra coin buys the medicine, but the shame of the manual labor weighs on your spirit. Your son finds a wood shaving on your hakama and asks if you have taken up a hobby. You lie to him, reinforcing the false image of the noble warrior that the code requires you to project. The merchant discovers your side job and uses it to leverage even higher interest rates on you. He threatens to tell the Metsuke that a samurai is performing the work of a common artisan. You are now working solely to pay the silence money, trapped in a cycle of exhausting labor. The scribe notices your fatigue and warns you that the Metsuke is investigating the umbrella district. You quit the night job immediately, but the debt remains and the interest continues to compound daily. The Lord demands a contribution from all retainers to repair the castle gates damaged by a storm. The edicts state that refusal to contribute is an act of treason against the clan and domain. You have nothing left to give, so you look at the family sword resting on the rack. It has been in your family for generations, the physical embodiment of your name and your history. Your wife weeps silently as you wrap the blade in cloth, preparing to sell your identity. The armorer accepts the blade with sullen respect, giving you enough gold to satisfy the Lord. You present the gold to the collector, feeling lighter but hollow, a warrior without a true soul. The rival notices your empty sash and whispers that a samurai without a sword is just a peasant. The Metsuke records your contribution, his quill scratching the paper like a dagger across your skin. You fashion a bamboo blade to fill your scabbard, a dangerous deception punishable by severe flogging. You walk with stiff caution, terrified that a stumble will reveal the wooden lie at your waist. The Ronin laughs when he sees you, recognizing the bamboo trick from his own days of desperation. He tells you that the code is a cage, and the only freedom is to walk away. You cannot walk away, for the edicts bind your family to the clan for all eternity. The merchant sells your debt contract to the rival, who now owns you completely and legally. The rival summons you, not as a peer, but as a debtor subject to his whims. He demands you falsify records to cover his new theft, using your seal to take the fall. If you refuse, he will expose your bamboo sword and your debts to the Metsuke immediately. You stamp the fraudulent papers with the clan seal, effectively signing your own death warrant. The scribe sees what you have done and looks at you with pity rather than judgment. The audit comes sooner than expected, and the Metsuke finds the discrepancy you created under duress. The Metsuke summons you to the courtyard, where the rival stands accusing you of his own crimes. You try to speak, but the edicts do not allow a debtor to testify against a superior. The Lord watches from the balcony, his face a mask of indifference to your plea for truth. The verdict is swift, stripping you of your rank and ordering you to commit the ritual act. You are granted one night to settle your affairs before you must redeem your honor with death. You return home to find your wife and your son waiting with a meager meal of rice. You cannot tell them that their future has been erased by the ink of a bureaucrat. Your son asks to see your sword, wanting to hold the steel of his ancestors one last time. You deny him, unable to reveal the bamboo stick that has replaced his inheritance and his pride. You sit in the garden, looking at the moon, realizing you cannot afford the seppuku ceremony. The ritual requires a second, new robes, and a feast, all of which cost money you lack. The absurdity of the situation strikes you. You are too poor to live and too poor to die. The scribe visits you in the dark, bringing a dusty scroll from the archives of the clan. He shows you an obscure clause in the edicts regarding the transfer of headship and debt. If you declare yourself legally retired and dead to the world, the debt dies with your status. However, this requires a specific form that must be stamped by the Metsuke before dawn breaks. You realize this is the loophole that the Ronin used to escape the cage of the clan. You rush to the office, sneaking past the guards who think you are already a ghost. You find the specific form, filling it out with trembling hands while the candle flickers low. The Metsuke enters the room, catching you in the act of forging your own administrative death. The Metsuke draws his blade, demanding to know why you are defiling the sanctity of the code. You show him the bamboo sword in your sash, revealing the depth of your fall and poverty. You explain that the rival forced you, and that this form is the only justice left. The Metsuke looks at the bamboo, then at the ledger, seeing the truth of the broken system. He hesitates, for he too is a prisoner of the edicts, bound by rules that crush good men. He sheathes his sword and stamps your form with the clan seal, granting you the escape. He tells you to vanish before the sun rises, or he will be forced to execute you. You run back home, waking your wife and your son to flee with only what they can carry. You leave the bamboo sword behind, a symbol of the hollow honor you are finally abandoning. The rival arrives at your home at dawn, finding only an empty house and the resignation paper. He realizes the debt is voided by your legal death, leaving him with nothing but useless paper. You walk out of the city gates, disguised as a peasant family, passing the guards without notice. The Ronin watches you from the roadside, tipping his straw hat as you join the road. You are no longer a samurai, but for the first time in your life, you are free. The code no longer dictates your breath, and the clan seal no longer owns your future. You look at your son, who walks with a lighter step, free from the burden of heritage. The history books will record you as a failure, but you know you have won your life. You disappear into the mist, leaving the suffocating world of the castle far behind you. You realize that true honor is not found in a rulebook, but in protecting those you love. Sometimes the only way to win a rigged game is to refuse to play it. Subscribe now to see more of your life as a prisoner of history, and reclaim your own destiny.